now. Hey folks, today we are doing part of the hashtag PCG story thing where we're finding out people's stories of how they got into paper computer games in the first place. Today I'm on with my friend Pierre, also known as Krierre House. So let's find out a PCG story.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What should I start, or are you going to ask me questions?
Yeah, I'll ask questions. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And yeah, so you are one of the classic PCG people. The people in the audience like probably haven't seen a lot of you on this channel, but like definitely you're a lot on the PCG wiki, just because like you haven't been around lately. So, but yeah, so I just like Flays has started a thing where everyone is sharing their stories of how they got into PCGs in the first place. So I thought we could talk about that briefly. Hold on, let me just make sure that our stream is on and see if anyone's saying anything in chat. Yes, we are live. People are saying stuff. People are saying hi. Hi Jabbar. Hi Yak. Hi Icy Winter. Okay, so and also put on some background music. Let me know if it gets too loud or annoying or anything. All right. All right. So, tell us about, like, I know you don't remember everything about how you first got into paper computer games, but, like, do you remember anything about like, your first experience of them or anything like that?
I vaguely remember. I think you have a better recollection of how I started than I do. My memory is shot on like days, so.
Yeah. All right. So, what I
vaguely remember being at your place, and I think I might have seen you and Chris play the game first. At Chris's.
Oh, interesting. I don't remember that. I don't know if my memory is correct or not. I just remember like I remember playing it at Chris's house first, and then, you know, coming, like, you were staying at my place at the time, and I, you know, said to you, hey, what, like, you know what Chris and I used to play when we were bored back when we were kids? And you're like, what? And I, like, made you a PCG. That's my recollection of it. But it's entirely possible you did see us play in the past. I have no idea.
Right. Well, I'm not sure if, like, that might have been afterwards. I really don't remember. Like, I don't know if because I remember Chris showing us one of your old ones.
Oh. Okay.
So, and I'm pretty sure you were there because it was like up in his attic or something.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the start. That was when I was first introduced to PCGs by you.
Cool. Yeah. So your first game was called The Evil League of Evilness. I'll put it up on the screen. This game stars you, and you had to team up with Zuvak, as I recall. And you did not like Zuvak very much.
No, who does?
You know, you'd be surprised. There are some people who do. You know, there's a few. Yeah, there's a couple.
Interesting.
So,
those people need to seek help.
Well, why do you say that? Well, like, what is it about Zuvak that rubs you the wrong way?
Well, first of all, he's a clown on a stick.
That is true.
Can I say more? And I think we're living through an era right now where clowns are not necessarily good guys.
Well, not necessarily, but they're not necessarily bad guys either.
I don't know. It is a clown. It Part 2 has a clown in it.
That's true.
Those are not good people.
Man, those are just anecdotes, you know. Like for every bad clown you can name, I can name a good clown. Like, I'm sure I could think of one. Like Joker. I don't know. Maybe
Joker is a good clown. Okay, well, we know where your bar lies.
Okay, maybe not one of the best clowns. I'm sure.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah, see?
Clown.
Yeah, see?
No,
Well,
she's
okay.
not a good clown.
Later on, she goes good. She, has a change of heart, so she's, sort of a...
Does she?
Yeah, of course. I mean, she turns against the Joker, has a change of heart.
I mean, just because she's fighting other bad guys doesn't necessarily mean she's a good guy.
That is true, but she is though. Icy Winter Paper Game says Pennywise is a good clown and adds a smiley face.
Pennywise is not a good clown.
All right. Well, look. Just like Professor Xavier, Zuvak is like the guy. He's got to show that there's exceptions to every rule. Like he's proving that clowns aren't all bad.
I don't know about that. I still don't trust him.
All right, so yeah, you were playing that game, and I mean, was it fun or not?
So from what I recall, it was very fun, but it was frustrating.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time there's almost a specific way to kind of complete a certain screen,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm always at the time I was well, if the only way to solve this screen and progress to the next screen is by solving it the specific way it's intended to be, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, which is part of the charm now, but at the time I was this is crazy. How am I supposed to know how to proceed if there's no logic to it?
Yeah.
So while it was fun, I think I was decapitating a lot of people for fun.
You were decapitating a lot of people for fun.
I was. Yeah, I know English, I swear. Yeah, I think I was decapitating a lot of people. And that was my way of processing through my frustration.
Understandable. Yeah, I could totally get why, especially those early games could be definitely frustrating. So at that point, I mean, you're saying it was fun, but it also had this frustrating component. So
Right.
you probably weren't fully into it at that point. Would you say that's right?
Yeah. I mean, it was the first time I played it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what changed your view of them?
Let's see. Have I played other PCGs?
A little bit.
What, the first one?
A little bit. I think you played 3 of mine. You played number 1 and number 2, which were about Pierre, and then you were the original player to play this one, The Last of the Zerelta.
Right, that's right.
Which, by the way, is getting a PC game adaptation right now.
Very nice.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, Icy Winter says, that sounds like my kind of game. Decapitate people and you get no punishment.
Well, I don't think I was supposed to decapitate people. It
just kind of happened, yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to want to.
And so I think there was around that time there was a time where you were starting to try to make your own game, right?
Right. I think it might have been because of that first game that made me want to make my own.
Oh, really? Why?
I think it might have been because it didn't, like, the frustration of it not making kind of any logistical sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to create a game that had like some form of logic to it. That's why, I mean, if we're gonna, I guess we're gonna touch on the games that I made for you, is you know, they're very free form.
Yeah.
Like there's a kind of like progression to it. It's not just
Yeah.
like an arbitrary, like, oh well, you have to like press this stuffed animal's, you know, nose 50 times in order to progress through, like, at least I don't think I have stuff like that in my games.
No, it's all pretty logical. So like at first this was like this game over here, Star Guy game, or it doesn't have a title. I call it that in the wiki, but this was your first attempt at making a PCG, and it was sort of like
No.
it was sort of like an imitation of my game a little bit. Like this screen right over here where it starts with you sitting at a computer, you know, typing, like in my room. It's like the same setting as the first screen of my game.
Yeah.
And then over here you've got like instead of like Zuvak appears, it's a Moogle that bursts in the window. And that's all that the art that I have of this game. Do you remember anything about this?
I do. That's right. This was the first one I made. Well, I don't really know made, because I don't think I ever finished it. I think I only did, what, like 4 screens of it? Something silly like that?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I only know of these two.
Oh, right. So there's only 2 screens.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I was trying to emulate the way I thought that PCG games were supposed to be made.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you saying that. You were like later on you said that you thought PCGs had to be like just like the one you had played.
Right.
Like you didn't realize that they could be, you know, sort of about anything.
Yeah. And that it could be made the way I wanted to.
Yeah. But your first real game, of course, is this one over here. This is Genesis. So, this
thing that I would forever be redoing over and over.
Eternally.
Eternally.
So, yeah, like this game, this game is definitely a lot more logical and also like works a lot more, you know, sort of lore into its story. Like what inspired you to do all of that? Like to incorporate so much like mythology, you know, biblical, you know, apocrypha and hermetic knowledge and whatever else into this game. But
yeah, that's right. I remember this.
Yeah.
And it was like my attempt at doing something cinematic, because if you remember, this was just originally a blank piece of paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we shaded in all the things as the quote-unquote cutscene went through.
Yeah, that's right. You drew this whole screen in front of me as we were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool effect.
Which, come to think of it, is like it's the way technology works now. Like that totally could have been done like remotely and more dynamically if, you know, there was like some interactive kind of interface that we could have done where you could just move your character and I could just draw the screen as you go along.
Oh wow, that's a really interesting idea. I like that.
Yeah.
That is super cool. So like, what inspired you to do that more cinematic thing of drawing? You know, as you progress.
You mean for this screen?
For this screen, but also, you know, for other cinematics and whatever else.
Well, I don't know if we had other cinematics. Did we have other cinematics like going forward in the PCGs?
I know, like, like later, like in your second game, you would do that a lot. Like for example, if something would, like if Ginkis gains a wing, you would like erase it into the screen.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like so, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted something that was like, I don't know, a lot less static. Something that was dynamic. I guess is the opposite of static. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted something so that it's not just a still screen.
Yeah, so that is really cool. And so, what inspired you to?
Like,
sorry.
No. I was just gonna say that, like, plus going forward after you finished it, then you'd see the different. Well, I guess you wouldn't be able to see the difference unless you got like a pre, you know, like a picture of the before and then an after, but. Yeah, I just wanted something to change. That way, you're kind of leaving your mark on it, and it's kind of like your own.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know exactly how things would look. I don't know how they would end up, because obviously it's based on the player, which was you, and how you dealt with certain situations.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This was
like if I had played that with a different player, it would look completely different.
Oh wow.
To an extent.
Yeah, that is very PCG though. Like I think it's like sort of part of the fun of PCGs is, well, I mean not always, but you know the best PCGs I think sort of adapt to the player as you're playing. You know, like you know sometimes people even create new screens as you're playing, and like you know the experience sort of feels very unique to you. You know. So yeah, this game, Genesis, like it's set at the beginning of time, and you're just sort of trapped in this weird tower that's called the Basilica of Heaven. What gave you the idea for that setting?
I'm trying to recall. So, I think I had originally started with the idea of the whole dynamic changing cutscene, black and white sort of thing, because I wanted to play with like dark and light and erasing it and shading it as needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first kind of idea I had, and then I was like, well, how do we put that into a setting? How do we put that idea into like what kind of world are we creating around that? So I like the idea of like, okay, well, it's the beginning of time, but not really the beginning of time, because obviously the Basilica was pre-made.
Yeah.
Already, like someone had already made it, right? So you're not there in an empty void. Someone had already been there before you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play with that idea of like, oh, it's the beginning of time, because like, you know, that biblical story of like, you know, first there was darkness and then God created light or something. So I wanted to, that was like my, I guess, creative way of telling or of putting the story into that setting. That was the setting I came up with.
Yeah, that is a super cool idea. So I guess it like kind of grew out of out of like your like artistic sense, I guess. Like you're a really, for those who don't know, Pierre is a really talented artist.
Sure. Thank you, but sure.
I mean, compared to like, I mean, like, you're really good.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. So yeah, that is really cool, and it definitely fits the theme really well. So so like when you were making like when you were playing this game, like did that feel more satisfying of a PCG experience than playing my games?
I think definitely I like creating games, creating worlds,
yeah,
rather than being part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more fulfilling for me.
Yeah. I can definitely hear that. Yeah, like creating worlds is amazing, and you're great at it. I feel like we've been looking at this one picture for too long. Let's look at some Exile stuff, or maybe I should start with Regenesis.
Okay, well, whichever one you want to start with.
Well, I guess let's start with Regenesis, because like Regenesis was like you remade the first game with like updated art and everything, and it looked gorgeous. Even though like
do you have screens of the old art that you can compare?
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, definitely. Exile. No, it's not here. Is it in box.com? I put my PCG pictures in too many places. As you might be able to tell. Soul Symphony, that's promising. Is this oh no, that's Regenesis, I think. Dang. Wait, is this Genesis or Regenesis? This one right here.
I'm pretty sure that's Regenesis.
Yeah, I think so.
I used ink.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I think the first iteration was more organic, like nothing. Like I didn't use rulers. I didn't use like hard lines, straight lines.
Yeah.
It was like rounded and shit and stuff. So and I think the new one, Regenesis, was when I started actually using rulers and legitimate perspective.
That is really cool. I know I have it. Let me see. Where is it? Is it under S for Soluna? No, it's just that. If G. Yeah, I guess I just can't find it right now. I know I have it.
Yeah, it's probably just not like somewhere you remember.
Yeah. I feel crazy though, because it's definitely in one of these places. No, that's your other game. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so it would be nice to do a side-by-side comparison. I just don't have it with me though. I'd have to prepare it. But yeah, you remade the game in order to prepare for the sequel, which itself was a huge amount of work. Like, it's sort of staggering to think about how much work you must have done to make these games.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Was it like, did it feel worth it?
Oh, of course. Especially since you finished it and you thoroughly, I assume, enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, your games were super fun. I remember, like, I used to spend hours just trying to figure out a riddle or trying to solve the puzzles, you know. It was such an immersive world, you know, like the art was really good, which kind of like sucks you in, and then like there's a lot to explore there, and yeah.
Definitely, I think the first one was a little. I think the puzzles in the second one was a lot more engaging than the first one, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like they were engaging in both, in different ways. Like, I mean, yeah, in the first one, you had to sort of like understand. You had to sort of like look up in recipe books and figure out how to combine items to like craft the right thing and then put it in the right place and sort of understand lore to know where things go, which is cool though.
Right.
Like I mean, it's frustrating in its own way, but it has its rewards, you know, because you feel like you're sort of like, you know, unraveling a web, you know, and there's a sense of mystery to the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good news is definitely over here. We've got some nice exile art to look at. This is like
That brings me back.
yeah. So this is like this is in the first game you're sort of locked in the tower, the Basilica of Heaven, but in the second game you sort of come out of the tower, you descend down these stairs, and you can sort of go in any direction. And it ends up being a city that's built in a ring, and each screen is like a district of that city. And
Right.
yeah, so this game also has some characters in it, like actual characters to talk to. The first one was just sort of like that sort of isolation, which heightens the mystery. It's sort of like just you in a tower. The second game sort of preserved, like even though it adds some characters, it still sort of preserves that sense of isolation because the characters are, you know, ghosts. Their personalities are exaggerated. They, you know, they're not fully in touch with reality. They, you know, like, so it's not fully like real people, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like what inspired you to go into the second game?
Well, I didn't. When you had wanted me to make a second one for you, and I did thoroughly enjoy making the first one, so I was like, yeah, you know what? Why not? There's still some puzzles that were unsolved in the first one. Some threads that were left hanging. So let's make this a trilogy because like, and that's its own problem. But we so I was like, okay, so what am I gonna do with this next game? How do I continue this basilica thing? Where would it go? I think, and originally, I think you know this, but I think that basilica was originally supposed to be underground.
Oh, really?
Didn't you know that? I'm pretty sure I might have shared some of that information.
Like, I remember having that impression. Like, when I was playing the first game, I remember thinking it was underground. But, like, when I played the second game, like, I was thinking it was, like, like, you were like, no, of course not. It was open air the whole time. And I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah. No, I think the first original Genesis was, the idea was you were, the tower itself was descending, and you were, you know, you were at the very top of it, so you were basically like in on the surface, and then you just kept descending and descending and descending and descending.
Yeah.
And it was I wanted to like kind of have a reveal when you had come out of the tower, because you were supposed to come out, because there was a terrace. There were several terraces in the first original tower, and you did see that there was like you were underground. It was very clear that you were underground.
Yeah. Wait, I think I just remembered where the files might be. But sorry, keep talking about that.
Yeah. And then the reveal would have been that once you got to the quote-unquote bottom of the tower, you would have been like in this big cavernous like area, and there was a subsumed city or something underground.
Oh, wow.
And you had to like traverse that, and basically you just had to keep on descending and descending and descending, and I wanted to be like kind of like Dante's Inferno, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, that is cool.
Yeah, yeah. Where like there is this idea of like, oh, you're in a celestial place because you're in a basilica, and there's like church-y themes everywhere, but you're actually descending into hell. So it was like a nice little like juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Which also was in keeping with the idea of like dark and light. It basically just me shading over on screen.
Well, that is super cool. So, like, the whole concept of the basilica changed. And like the story of the basilica, was that something you developed later, or did you develop that early on?
No, that was early on.
Nice. So like,
I figured like even if I had changed the setting, so that's like, okay, you're just in open air now.
right.
I figured it wouldn't have really changed anything because the setting would have stayed the same. It's just, or the story would have stayed the same. It's just the location was different.
Yeah.
And
Makes
looking
sense.
at it now, like if you notice in the second game, there's all those Umbrians and those shadowy people that like are living in the city.
Yeah.
And they would have been, I think that it would have been more apt if you were underground, where it was super dark, you know? So I kind of, going back on it now, I think I should have kept with the idea of going underground.
Huh, true. That would make more thematic sense. Although I could see the argument that like that the way it is also works really well because like there's such a visual contrast. It's like you're outside and it's brightly lit, but then there's like really dark Umbrians in the shadows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like so like you had an idea for what became the final story like from the beginning, like did you have an idea about like Saluna and like all of the, or like I guess her name isn't Saluna in this, but like you know what I mean, like the Umbrians and who they were and like the backstory of Babel and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I wanted to have like a little tiny like story because again, like the basilica was already in ruins, so, and clearly it was set on the backdrop of like, oh, you're at the beginning of time, but then who built this basilica, and then who built the city that the basilica is in. So I wanted to add a little mystery there, and and you were rewarded for playing the game by getting little bits and snippets of lore that explained who these people were.
Yeah, definitely. There was like that ripped up story I had to piece together. Yeah, that was super cool. Yeah, like there was like in the first game there was also like lots of little stories, like there was like the story of the 12 days or something like that. Yeah, like man, like just the amount of work you put into this was super cool. But like, so then like you had plans for a third game, which never happened.
Which never happened, and as much as I'm working on it, it's probably not gonna happen. I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find inspiration, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, it's very difficult to come up with new puzzles. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that is like I can totally see that is difficult, but I don't know. I mean, like,
yeah, unless I find out new creative ways and not just reusing the same puzzles from the first two games. or first 2.5 games, because there was that one game I made in space.
You mean whatchamacallit, Lost Testament?
Something. Yeah, was it Lost Testament?
It was, according to the wiki anyway. Yeah, this is the first one where you incorporated like color.
Yeah, but there's still that black and whiteness.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, definitely the most colorful, and you have these like comic book cutscenes. This is like the first of your games that it's sort of like more sci-fi, more actionist, more like it has more like active, like it doesn't feel as, you know, much a sense of desolation. It's a very interesting like change of pace.
Well, doesn't it have a sense of desolation? Wasn't the whole world basically like crumbling?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, well, I guess that is desolation, but it's like, but it's not like, you don't feel like that sense of like being alone, like it's just you. I mean, it's a sense of tragedy because everyone's gonna die, but like, you know, in the cutscenes and everything, there's like people who are after you. You know, you have a robot sidekick who's like helping you out. Like it, you know, it feels more like,
3v3.
yeah, 3v3, good old 3v3. This is 3v3. She was like your assistant and also your inventory, and also you save game with her.
That's right.
Yeah, so then there was like you've got this like this like the main character's name is in Arabic, which I cannot pronounce. Oh, yes I can. Al-Mankid al-Awal, which means the first rescuer. Super cool. So like, yeah, what was the inspiration for this game?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Fair enough.
I think I wanted this to be the third game.
Really?
Yeah, I think this was set up to be the third PCG of that whole Genesis trilogy.
Man, there are so many things that were intended to be that third PCG.
I know.
Like,
that's my whole motto in life. Well, I intended.
Yeah. I mean, we've got this one over here, Revelation, which was like, that was supposed to be a tabletop RPG. Like, we actually played a little bit of it, of like, it was sort of like a D&D campaign, basically.
To be fair, that game was actually completed. And
Really?
It was actually a D&D campaign. So.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
They've played it. I've had people play it.
Oh man.
I like it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That your campaign with Mike and everyone, which I didn't get to see, but I heard a lot about it. I have an article about that, as I just call it Soluna RPG World. Well, I think I call it that because you called it that. Like, that was your article, so I was like, yeah. But yeah, this is your art for that, like your map, which looks super cool. So yeah. First of all, yeah, like, tell me about the development of this game.
Which one? The PCG one, or
the art
campaign one?
Yeah.
It had originally been a project, as you know, that we had all, you, me, Chris, our friend Joey, wanted to make.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's the original Solura. Yeah, we were gonna make this game Solura. By the way, welcome JPGS.
Yes. And that was our original intent for it, and it just, everyone put so much work in that game.
Yeah.
The story, the music, which I don't have the music, by the way. I wish I had.
Could probably ask Joey for it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that. I could use that in my videos. Dang.
That would be great. Yeah. The theme song he made for the Goddess was
Oh yeah. Good times.
Yeah, it was good times. But yeah, we had wanted to make that game, and we had put so much work and effort into it, and it was really a waste to just let it flounder into obscurity. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's pay respect to everyone's hard work and, like, I don't know, complete it, flesh it out, do something with it.
Yeah, totally. But you also made this like a little bit connected to the PCGs I played before, or I guess like very, very loosely, right? So tangentially connected.
Yeah, tangentially, yeah.
Let's see. It was like Adon, like this. Oh man, why don't I have a picture of it here? But
because so Babel in the second, where the city that the second PCG takes place in, is actually in this world.
Yeah, or it was in this world. This right over here.
It was at the Diz crater.
Yeah, the Diz crater right there. So there was a city there, and then it was like there was an explosion. It was blasted off this world, and ended up like somewhere else where my PCGs take place.
Right.
So like.
And so the story in the second PCG is slightly canon to that world. So.
I love that, slightly canon. I approve.
Canon.
Yeah.
I say that because I don't want to say like it's all canon, because there, between the time I finished this game and the second game, or the second PCG game, it was like a long stretch of how many years? Like a long time.
A bunch, yeah.
Yeah. So inspiration changes. The things you want a story to go changes. So.
Yeah, but so like, man, I wish I'd gotten to play that campaign. Like maybe someday I would love to. But like, how did it go?
It went great. My players were just as how do you call it? Not unexpected, but it's difficult to kind of predict. Unpredictable. There it is. It's just unpredictable as like you were when you were playing the first and second one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the nature of the game, right? Unpredicted. Like you never know what your players are gonna do. But so like then after that, you're like, I guess your last real attempt to make a PCG that I'm aware of is this one, which is called Arc, which I never got to play, but looks super cool.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we're like on this spaceship. It's called Arc, and I had to like this text at the bottom left of it. Like as a challenge, you made me translate that. I had to figure out what the letters meant.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't give you just those 3 letters. I gave you a whole.
Yeah, you gave me a whole thing. And it took me way longer than it should have, but like this screen right here was how I solved it. It was the answer key.
Right.
Because you kind of gave it away here. But like, yeah. So what was the? I mean, I assume this game is now not going to get made. So like.
No, I wouldn't say that. So that game is the game that I am on and off, like, working on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but like I said, it's difficult to figure out puzzles, to figure out inspiration. Like I have a big picture idea as to how I want the whole thing to play out. The main antagonist, the main protagonist, his or her goals.
Oh wow.
But it's difficult to like kind of bridge them all together.
Yeah, totally.
It's
hard to like, make everything come together. By the way, welcome Vulcan Brot. How much of it would you say that you have done, like in terms of sheer like amount of content?
So like so each of those cells, those hexagonal cells, are screens. Including like the little periphery hallways in between. So I wanted to really play on the idea that it's like a spaceship, and it's still in keeping with the trilogy of the whole, because the first one was Genesis and the next one was Exile, and then this one would have been like something
Ark?
something else, something biblical in that Ark. Yeah, probably would have
Like
been
Noah's Ark,
Ark
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, like Noah's Ark, basically.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so and it's and I worked out some puzzles, but like I said, I want there to be more puzzles. You know how it goes. Like each screen has to have their own puzzle, and then there has to be like an overarching puzzle, and then there has to be several interconnected puzzles.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, it's a lot to do. I definitely hear that.
Yeah, it's difficult, and since it's space E, I wanted it to be less. I wanted it to be less based on mythos and more based on like science or math puzzles.
Huh.
Which, as I already know, and as you know, I am not very good at either subject. So it makes it even harder.
You know what we could do? I could like be your science consultant and help you make the game, and then obviously because I'm making it, I can't really play it, unfortunately. But
but that would be robbing you, because then you're
I
playing
know.
the first two.
I know.
And you'd have to play the third one, or else what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Dang. If only another one of our friends knew science as much as I do. Dang.
Yeah.
And
I don't want it to be, obviously, I don't want it to be confusing, like super difficult, puzzles. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, solve for Y.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like just something that thematically having to do with math and science, as opposed to like art and history, which was the basis of the puzzles in the first two games.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Let me just say, I am so curious about the nature of this ship, this weird language that everything is written in, who launched it and why.
The puzzle, too, is, there's a little bit of, cryptography that I wanted to, put in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's only one puzzle out of several that I want to have, so.
Super cool. So do you have any screens of it drawn besides what I'm looking at right now, or just
I have the landing screen. I have the screen that you start off in, and that's about it. I have rough drafts of everything else, but nothing that's concrete.
Right. Okay, so can you hold on a second? I just have to run to the bathroom.
Sure.
All right, be right back. Okay, so we are back. So
Welcome back.
thank you, man. So like, how recently have you worked on that?
I wouldn't say a month ago. The past couple of weeks have been intense, so.
Oh, really? Is everything okay? I guess you probably wouldn't want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this game looks super cool. Like you originally said there was going to be an artificial intelligence called Z005 Artificial Construct, or Zuvac for short. Is that still the plan, or is
Yes. Yes. Z005 Artificial Construct is still there.
Awesome. I'm shocked, honestly. Like for you to go this long without like totally retconning and overhauling is.
I know. So, and obviously, 3v3 is also going to be there.
Really?
Yeah. So think of Lost Testament as like a prequel, not a prequel, but a little like demo of this Ark game.
Whoa, that is so cool.
It's like a semi-continuation of it, since it was super short, and there was only, like 3 screens or something.
That's so cool. That's going to be connected to that.
I expect there to be cutscenes, but or like comic book style cutscenes, but.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though. I'm going to add that to the wiki as we speak, like live wiki. 3v3. Oh, wait, but the V is capital. Will be in the game. Done. Bam. It's in the wiki now. It's official.
Wow. That was fast.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, if you finish that game at any point, it would be awesome to have you back on the show to like play it.
Of course.
Awesome.
You'll be the first to know.
Yeah, definitely. So did you have any other thoughts about any of these games, or about your experience getting into paper computer games that you wanted to share?
No. I hope I covered all the details that you wanted to ask of me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That's all the questions I've got for now. But yeah, so I guess we can probably end the stream unless there's anyone in chat who has anything they want to ask either of us. I'm not seeing any responses. So yeah, all right. I guess we can end the stream. But thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was good talking to you and learning a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. Yeah, really good PCG story. So thanks, Pom.
All right, anytime. Thanks, Zach.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching, and yeah.